Hi there, my name's Deborah, and my main claim to fame is that I cook lunches for my husband Nicholas's painting classes, Nicholas Pierce that is. I've had a special request by one of the students to do a video on how I make bone broth, which is the basis for many of my soups, unless they're vegetarian, in which case no. So, first of all, I'm going to show you what I don't use anymore, which is this great big honkin' roasting pan to roast the chicken bones first, which you really have to do because it changes the flavor, makes it way, way better. And this great big honkin' stock pot, which I can't even lift empty without having to grunt and groan, never mind if it was full of liquid. Therefore, let me show you the better thing that I have discovered that is so worth the investment if you're going to make bone broth more than once. Hang on a sec. Okay, Kai, let's go. This is my grandson that you can't see right now because he's being the cameraman. So, this is my magic tool, my magic weapon. It's an 18-quart roaster oven, and it does everything. It roasts the stuff, it cooks the stuff, it does what it needs to do. So right now, what I have in this is probably about 8 pounds of chicken carcasses. Important to get the good stuff. So free run, not a whole lot of chemicals used in them and whatnot. I get mine at Carnivore, but if you have a good butcher who does grass-fed meat and all that kind of stuff, you can probably trust anything they put out. So there's those guys there. So those get roasted at about 350 for 45 minutes, an hour, just until they're looking roasted. And then what I add is whatever I happen to have. If I happen to have leftover chicken bones from a roast that was already done, dump those in too. And another thing, chicken feet. Yes, I know. They're kind of, the first time I had to work with these guys, I couldn't even touch them. I had to use an implement. Now I can pick them up, but they look so much like human hands, it's kind of freaky. Anyway, one batch of those guys, you can't get those at your specialty butcher. Fairway around here has them. It's something to do with having to have special processing facilities. I don't know what it is, but anyway, that's it. So that's that bit. Next thing I'm going to do is add a liquid. And you won't have this the first time you do it. This is called Remy. It's leftover. It's a second stock made out of the bones after you've used the really good stuff, saved for the next time so that when I pour it in, extra benefit from the bones that I used last time around has been put into this liquid here. So there's the first one. I keep it frozen until the next time I'm going to do another batch. And then here's the second one. So this is about how much it makes 2 honey containers worth. Okay, so that's that. And the next thing I do is add water. And I want to get the water so that the bones are, see, these guys are stuck together, so this isn't going to be that easy until they've had a chance to thaw out a bit. But I want to have the bones all underwater so that I'm gaining, so that they're getting as much of their goodness into the liquid. So here we go. I'm adding cold filtered water. I just happen to have a cold filtered water thing right there. And that's going to take 2 or 3 minutes to pull. And one thing that I have learned is to not leave the kitchen while I'm filling that, because once I let it run over the top and all over the floor and into the dining room, and it was no fun at all cleaning that one up. So hang on a bit. I need one other ingredient here. And the other ingredient is apple cider vinegar is the best for this, and what this does is help draw the nutrients out of the bones. So I'm going to dump in, we're going to call this half a cup. We're going to pretend this is half a cup because I don't want to dirty a half cup measure, and it's not that important that it's perfect. Okay, so half a cup you figure? I figure. Okay. Now, we'll just keep going with this guy until we're almost covered. They'll subside a bit as we go through it, so that's okay if we don't make it. Usually I fill this guy to about there. I'm just going to get another top down. Okay, so I think we're just about good for liquid here. Kai, can you shoot right in there so that the level is obvious? Thank you. And then I'll move this over here. Now, I'm going to turn this up real high as high as it can go, which is about 450. There we go. And now I'm going to change lids, because the one thing, this lid here is a lovely lid. It comes with the thing, it seals it. It's really good for roasting chickens and roasting the bones. If you use it for the 24 hours you're going to be letting the stock go, it'll rust in about a minute and a half. So what I've discovered works way, way better is to take one of my stainless steel cookie sheets, put it on the top, and let it sit. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to stir with this, I don't even know what it's called, but anyway, it's a useful thing. Basket spoon? Strainer spoon? Yeah. Anyway, stir it around a little bit like that. I can leave it in because there's room for it. Put that lid on there. And now what I'm doing is bringing this up to a boil. My goal is to bring it up to the boil very briefly and then turn it down so it does a very gentle simmer after that and let it simmer for a while. And half the time I forget and I come back and here's the silly thing boiling like Billy-O. So you don't want to do that. You want to make it boil briefly and then let it come down again. And normally for me, that's normally in this one anyway, around 200 degrees. You let it go. But I'll show you that later. Okay, Kai, that's it for part one. Thank you so much, and we'll be back once this has had a chance to do its thing. Hi again. Okay, guess what? It's boiling. That's what it looks like. And what I am now going to do is give it a stir. See if I can push stuff down. I think there's enough liquid in there, even though stuff does sometimes rise to the surface. See all the white foamy stuff? If this weren't more or less organic chicken, I'd be worried about it and skimming it off. Because it's really good quality chicken bones, I don't care. Anyway, that's enough boiling for now. I'm going to turn it down to, on this particular machine, I turn it down to 200. And eventually, because it's hot inside, it'll still boil for a little while, but eventually it'll just start going plop, 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 and that's about as much as a simmer as you want it to stay on. I'm going to leave it like this for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, however long, before I add vegetables and herbs. So it can just keep going like this, and I can go out of the house and go to the garden center, which is where I'm going next. Okay, it's been 2 or 3 or maybe 4 hours since we brought the liquid to a boil and then brought it down to a plop, plop, plop. And here is what plop, plop, plop looks like. Can you see the individual bubbles popping up? Not real fast, and not a whole line of sizzling around the edge, but just every now and again, pop, pop, pop. Okay, and the liquid has gone kind of clear, and kind of looks like it's time to do something else, and that something else is to add vegetables and herbs. So here we go. I am lazy, so I buy a whole bunch of celery together, and then I put it through the food processor rather than having to chop it by hand. So there goes the celery, and it's still somewhat frozen. But that's fine, it'll be fine. And then, so that was 6 sticks of it, I think, or roughly thereabouts. It really doesn't matter. You don't have to be exact with this kind of stuff. It's not like baking where you really do have to be exact. Anyway, here come the carrots, and there's either 3 or 4 of those, medium size, so whatever that means, I have no idea, so I just grab whatever I feel like grabbing. And I scrub them, not peel them, because there's a whole bunch of vitamins and stuff in the peeling, then we want to keep that, so that's all cool. Stir it in now. About a tablespoon of peppercorns, like so. At one point I thought it's 3 teaspoons because I messed with the recipe, and I thought it was 3 tablespoons, and I used 3 tablespoons and it didn't make any difference. And then 4 bay leaves, which are coming from the branch off our tree, and I think I'll do 5 because these guys aren't all that big. And okay, stir them in. Now, your choice here, depending on how fast you want to go, you can turn it up again and bring it to the pop, pop, pop stage. But when I do that, I always forget about it, and I come back and I hear it goes bubble, 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 and sometimes that can mess with the integrity of the stuff. So I think I'll just leave it as it is. So I'm going to put this little stir thing back in, put this back on, leave it at 200 where it was doing absolutely perfectly. It'll probably not go pop, pop, pop for, I don't know, maybe another hour or so, but then it'll go back to that and we'll be good. Now I'm just going to leave it until tomorrow morning. And I will probably, because I can smell it at night, I will probably wake up at 3 o'clock and come up and check it. But you don't have to, because there's really nothing much going on other than, you know, your olfactory things and all of that kind of stuff. Anyway, so that's where we're at now. So basically we're not spending a whole lot of time doing this, but it's over an extended period of time. So tomorrow we will get to the putting it into the jars, and that's a whole nother ball of wax. So, and thank you very much, Kai, and we'll see you again for the next segment.